Hi everyone, welcome back and to a bonus video for this week. This is going to be a different kind of video and I thought I would include it this week as a little sort of bonus. So last week, very excitingly, I was invited down to London to a Mode at Rowan new concept launch. So Rowan as in the lovely yarn brand. Rowan are one of my favourite yarn brands. I love their patterns and I love their yarns as well. So I was really excited and a bit honoured actually to be invited down to this. The event was going to be sort of showcasing their new yarns and new patterns that will be coming out later in the year at sort of autumn time. So a few of us were invited down to just look at their new yarns, the new shade of yarns and the new patterns that they'll be bringing out. It was all very exciting. The event was actually held last week on the 23rd of May, which is actually my husband's birthday. So we decided to make a day of it. So the event was like early evening time from 4 till 8. So we went straight from the school run into London and we had a little look around, did a bit of shopping, did a bit of walking, had some lunch and all that kind of stuff. And then I went to the event a bit later in the evening. So I thought I would film snippets of the day. I'm actually filming this a little bit back to front because I wasn't sure how the filming would go. I'm not much of a sort of out of the house type vlogger. Not very good at picking up the camera and talking to it in the street and all of that kind of stuff. So I filmed clips of London here and there and it actually turns out to be quite a, I thought, crafty kind of day. I absolutely love looking around high street stores for sewing inspiration, as you know. We also went to Liberty's, a department store, which has an amazing haberdashery department. So I just filmed some of that for you as well. And yeah, it just turned out to be a really lovely day. And of course, I filmed some of the event for you too, just to show you what we got to do. So as well as seeing all of the new yarns, we also got to have a lovely hand yoga taster session and also a really interesting talk on craft psychology as well. So I've just put a little bit of footage of those things in as well. So I'll leave you to enjoy this little bit of footage of London and then at the end of the video I'll just pop back on, share with you what I brought from Liberty's and also the lovely bits and pieces that I received from Rowan as well. I went for a fully me-made outfit for the day consisting of my Dawn jeans by Megan Nielsen, an Ogden cami by True Bias, and of course I wanted to wear something that I'd knitted, so I went for my Whitmore cardigan by Taylor S Studio, which I'd knit from a Rowan Kid Classic yarn. We decided to drive into London, which from Bedfordshire takes around an hour and 20 minutes. We're actually pass holders for the ZSL Zoo, so we were able to park in London Zoo car park and walk through Regent's Park into central London, which was a really lovely walk. It was a little bit cloudy when we set off early in the morning, but it did get sunnier and warmer throughout the day. We took a walk through Marylebone because I wanted to visit one of my favourite online stores, which has recently opened up a branch in London, and that is Sézane. You'll know how much I love Sézane if you are a frequent watcher of my channel. I mention them a lot. And I was so excited to actually have a look around their proper bricks and mortar store. I really want to own a piece of Sézane knitwear. I absolutely love their knitwear. So I tried a couple of pieces on in their changing rooms, didn't buy anything, but then regretted for the whole day that I hadn't bought this beige ribbed cardigan because I felt as though afterwards it could have gone for so many things. You always regret the purchases that you don't make, don't you? And maybe I'll have to order this one online at a later date. From Marylebone, we walked on to Liberty's. I absolutely love Liberty of London, the department store, particularly, of course, their haberdashery department. It's just so beautiful and the Liberty building is just stunning. I could honestly look around there for hours on end. So you can see that their patterns were displayed really beautifully all along one of the side walls, where they stocked a range of Merchant and Mills patterns, Maven patterns, and also their own Liberty patterns. They have a beautiful range of buttons as well, and also some lovely embroidery and patchwork kits. I did have to make a purchase from their fabric department and I'll show you what I brought at the end of this video. From Liberties, we walked through Leicester Square and onto Covent Garden, which is one of my favourite places in London. And we walked onto where the Rowan event was going to be held, which was in Primrose Hill. The Rowan event had been set out so beautifully in a shop. And you can see here all the lovely yarns that we got to look at and squish and feel and imagine what we wanted to make things from. And I loved how they had some designs on show as well. So we could actually look at and feel and touch how some of the samples had been knitted up and how some of the yarns knitted up as well. What I loved about looking through the samples was that none of the knitting seemed to be too difficult. There was a really good range of patterns ranging from beginner up to more advanced knitting. So after a little bit of mingling and getting to know and chat to all of the other lovely knitters that had been invited to the event, we then had a little chat with one of the guys that worked from Rowan all about the different kind of yarns and their compositions. After a little bit more mingling, we then had a really lovely hand yoga taster session, which was so interesting, and it was really great to see how we can help our poor necks and hands that come under so much strain when we knit and craft as much as we do. I'll definitely be taking some of these exercises away with me and trying to make sure that I do these more often. We were also taught some breathing exercises as well, which were really helpful. These are great for anxiety and helping you to calm your mind if you do feel anxious and stressed. We were then treated to a really interesting talk on craft psychology by a lovely lady from Denmark called Anne Kirketerp. She has a book coming out later in the year in English, and it was so interesting to hear more about the link between crafting and mental health. And after all of that, it was time for some more drinks, a little bit of food, and more chatting and mingling with everyone. The whole event was 4 hours long, and I cannot believe how quickly the time flew. It was so lovely to meet with fellow knitters and crafters. It was also really lovely for me to finally meet Rachel. Rachel and I have been chatting about all things craft and knitting and sewing, but we've never actually met in person, so it was great to have a proper chat in person together at this event. I just want to say thank you to Rowan again for inviting me down to this lovely event and for giving us such a wonderful evening. Stay tuned for what I received in my Mode at Rowan gift box, which you can see in the window here. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of footage. It was such a lovely day. Best of all, we thought it was going to be horrible and grey and rainy, and it actually turned out to be lovely and sunny and warm. So you'll see from my outfit that I was actually wearing one of my woolliest Whitmore cardigans, and I was actually so boiling hot in it. But I think what I mainly took away from that event was how lovely the crafting world is. It was so lovely to meet with other knitters and other crafters and just chat to other people that are doing a similar kind of content creation type thing that I'm doing. There were so many lovely, talented people there. A lot of the ladies there were knitwear designers and things like that. So yeah, it was just so interesting and so lovely. And I think for me, sometimes with the kind of work that I do, can be quite isolating and quite lonely, because obviously a lot of the time I'm just at home or talking to a camera or whatever. The hand yoga was really great as well. And as I say, I will be taking away some of those exercises, and also the talk on craft psychology. So I think we're going to be sent a copy of this book when it is released later in the year. I found that talk so interesting. Actually, I know we all did. We all just came away from it just feeling like, wow, because I think for me, I've always sort of shared and I've always known about the benefits of knitting and crafting to my own mental health. It really helped me through a very difficult time in my teenage years, which I will maybe share a bit more about at some point. But it was really interesting to hear the psychology and the science behind all of that as well. So I'll definitely be reading that book when it does get sent to us, and I'll be sharing more about that with you, hopefully. So anyway, I'll share with you what I bought from Liberty of London. So their fabric department is absolutely beautiful, but their fabric is very, very pricey. So I actually only bought myself 1 metre of one of their fabrics. I love how you get the Liberty bag as well. I think I'll be keeping this for shopping and things like that. I haven't actually opened this since I got back. I thought I would save it for this video. It did take me absolutely ages to decide what fabric to go for. I knew I was only going to buy 1 metre. This was actually £29.95 a metre, and I went for one of their Tana lawns. I really wanted to buy one of their crepe de chines, but I was a bit staggered, a bit horrified by the price of them. So their crepes were £70 a metre. So needless to say, I didn't buy one of the crepes this time. I didn't realise they were actually that expensive. I'm sure the quality of them is well worth it, but still it wasn't quite in my budget to spend that much that day. So this is the Tana lawn that I brought. I think I might have it upside down. Let's turn it around. And I just thought this was so pretty. So it's on a white background and it's just got loads of different sort of woodland meadow flowers all over it. So pretty. So I have 1 metre and I think it's about 140 centimetres wide. So I think what I'm going to get out of this is probably going to be some kind of sleeveless top, maybe just a simple Ashton top again. And maybe I will look at adding some frills to the shoulders or something to make it a little bit more pretty. It's so soft and lovely. As you know, I don't always like to wear cottons, but I think the Tana lawns are a lot softer than the 100% cottons that you can get. So I'm really looking forward to sewing this up into something at some point, but it's definitely going to be one of those that I think I'm going to be scared to cut into. So that's what I brought from Liberty's. And then from the Mode at Rowan event, we were all very kindly given one of these gift boxes to take away with us. And I'll show you what was included. So I actually have 5 sample balls of their new yarn that are coming out. It's really funny. You would have seen from my video clips all the different colours that they had available. And I feel as though they couldn't have picked better colours for me. I really wonder if they chose the colours that they were giving to us based on our looks and what they thought we would like at the event, because I was obviously wearing my grey Whitmore cardigan and I've come away with lots of greys and whites, and I know that a couple of other people when they opened their goodie box said the same. The colours they'd received were just perfect for them. So I'll try to remember what compositions these yarns are in a minute and I will talk to you about what they are. But we also received the Autumn Winter 2024 lookbook. So these are all the patterns that are going to be released later in the autumn time. I won't be able to show you all of these, but I'll just show you a couple that have caught my eye. So they had this one on the stand of samples at the event, and I think this is knit from their Chunky, and this is knit from their Softest Alpaca, and it was so lovely and soft and chunky, but it didn't feel heavy at all. It felt like it would be really warm and really light. This is a really simple design, so really it's just stocking stitch with a bit of rib at the cuffs and the neckline. And I also really like this pullover as well. Again, another really simple design. What I took away from their lookbook and the samples that they had out was that there was a really good range of pattern abilities. I think from ranging from like beginner level up to more advanced. So there really was something for everyone in there. So this is obviously one of their more advanced designs. This lovely lace knit shawl. This is from the Alpaca Haze. So it's going to be sort of feeling as if it's like a mohair, but it's a lot softer than a mohair actually. It's really pretty, that is, isn't it? I can't imagine all the work that goes into making a shawl like that. I really like this little ribbed crop jumper as well. I thought that was really cute. And then this big chunky cardigan, another really simple pattern, but it would be lovely to wear in winter time, wouldn't it? So we were actually given one pattern card for one of the designs that's coming out later in the year, and it's for this half zip jumper. I can't imagine, I've never really looked into how you get a zip into a knitwear design, so I'm really interested to have a read through of this pattern actually and just see how that works. I think the rest of it is fisherman's rib, but I thought that was a really nice design, and these sort of half zip jumpers are very on trend at the moment, so that's a nice pattern that I can keep in my collection. We also got a very nice Mode at Rowan bag that I'll probably be keeping my knitting in actually. So I'm going to have to refer to my shade card here and just see if I get the compositions of these yarns right. So I think this one here is the chunky wool, and then one of the alpaca cotton. This is super soft and lovely, and they had some lovely samples knit from this at the event, and it knits up really nicely. If you're knitting in stocking stitch, it almost looks as if it's knit up in a rib, because you get quite a big gap between the stitches if you use a larger needle. So this one is really, really lovely. Very light and very warm. I believe this one is the Merino Soft. I hope I'm saying this right. One thing I learned from the event actually is that I'm not very good on the compositions of yarn. I definitely would like to learn a little bit more about what goes into the yarn that I use and what I'm actually knitting with. That's a really lovely shade of grey as well. It's slightly thinner than the chunky, that one. This one was so lovely. They passed this round at the event and everyone just loved it. So squishy. This is the softest alpaca. So this is more of a chunky weight yarn, but it's very, very soft. It reminds me a little bit of the brushed fleece that I've used in the past. It's not quite as thick and chunky as that one, but very soft and very cozy. And then this lovely one, this is the one that's most similar to like a mohair and the Kid Silk Haze, I think it's called, the one that they've got out at the moment. This is the Alpaca Haze, and this knits up so lovely as well. Really soft, really cozy, but lovely to knit with. It doesn't feel as though it would fluff everywhere. You know how, well, I've never actually knit with mohair. I think what puts me off of knitting with mohair is that the fibres and the fluff sheds everywhere, so I've heard, and I don't think this one does. So that will be really good. I'm going to have to try and use a yarn like that this winter, I think. So that's a little sneak peek of what's coming up from Rowan later in the year. I'm really, really excited to see this new range taking shape. And actually, Mode at Rowan have some really exciting projects and concepts and things coming up for the future. So I'm so excited that I might be able to be involved with some of that. I'm really looking forward to working with them a little bit more in the future. Thanks so much for coming along on my little day out into London. I really hope it's been enjoyable to see what we got up to, or see what I got up to in London. It's made me want to go out into London more actually. I find it really inspiring. It's quite tiring because obviously London is so busy. At one time in my life I used to absolutely love London. Now I feel as though I come away and I just feel absolutely exhausted because of the busyness of it all and the travel and everything. But I'd definitely like to do it more just to get out and be inspired. So anyway, thanks so much for watching everyone. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click the like button if you have enjoyed the video, and take care, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Bye.